Welcome to PCMC. I'm Mike Bongiorno. I'm here today with Anthony Bongiorno.
Hello, everybody.
How are you today?
I'm feeling frazzled.
I'm feeling frazzled too. So this is a rare occurrence on PCMC.
I was just gonna say, I don't know if you've ever done this with me or anyone.
Yeah, usually we do like sort of thoughtful reviews or sometimes even deep dives, but you and me just saw literally the new Scream movie, Scream
2022,
and even as we left the theater, we did not speak to one another.
No, this is on the fly. This is showbiz, baby.
Yeah, so I'm still processing a lot of this.
Me too.
I should also say, full disclosure, I have a little bit of like a toothache, so I don't know how much my own, physical pain might, like
taint your review,
taint my reading of it. Although I don't dislike it. I don't think.
Okay.
So we should begin by saying
spoilers.
Complete spoiler alert for the new Scream movie. What did you think?
I'm still processing too. I will say there's a lot about it that I really liked.
Yes.
I think this movie, like so many other things, might be a little bit for me of a victim of like it got such good reviews and it was so like, oh, this is gonna be really, really, really fucking good. And then it was good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't perfect. And I think that's what I was maybe expecting in a way.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that like the first thing that jumped out at me when I started thinking about it was like, and this is a criticism. And there, mind you, again, there was a lot that I really liked. But it feels like it hit a lot of the same notes as Scream 4.
It feels like it could have been an alternative universe Scream 4.
Exactly. And they even mention things in it in a meta way that have already happened in Scream 4. Like, oh, we got new characters, and some of them are related to the old characters. It's like the killer in the last one was Sydney's cousin. We did this already.
Right. No, absolutely.
We've already been back to Woodsboro. We did this already.
Right. Whereas the killer in Scream 4 was Sydney's cousin. In this one, not the killer, the protagonist is Ray Palpatine. I mean, Ray Skywalker. I mean, what's her name? Billy Loomis's illegitimate
daughter with an unnamed girl.
I guess he cheated on Sydney with somebody. But much like Ray Skywalker, Palpatine, just because her father was a villain doesn't mean she has to be ? Maybe? The thing that is, I could say unequivocally, is the worst thing in this movie is the vision she has of Billy Loomis, played by Skeet Ulrich.
Okay, I disagree. I actually thought that was fresh.
It was
We've
fresh,
never seen that before.
And it was and look, it's fun to see Skeet Ulrich. It's a legacy thing.
Yeah, improbably she sees him as he was while she was not even born yet.
But it doesn't.
He always appears as he does at the end of Scream.
Right, but it doesn't add up to anything, kind of. Because
and he kind of is like a good Jedi ghost at the end.
At the end, he's like helping her win, and it's like, but what?
And she's on Scream we've talked about Scream movies before, and they have a tendency to drop the ball on plot lines.
Yeah.
And they started the movie with her the first shot we see of her, she's taking pills. Yeah. And we find out she's on antipsychotics because she sees visions of her dead father.
Right.
And it just they just drop that. And then he becomes a force ghost that guides her at the end. We're all over the place, but that part was silly.
No, we could be all over the place. Yeah, because it's like, okay, so
she's psychotic though.
Right, exactly. So it's like, so wait, she's not the killer. Okay, she's not the killer, but she is psychotic. She is fucked up and crazy.
Yeah.
In a way that I think has no real analog to real life psychosis.
No.
because
she just always sees him in mirrors and stuff.
Yeah, and the only
and it's Skeet Ulrich came back to do this.
And the only way that it seems to really, she said that she left her sister and drove away and moved away from her family because she was afraid that she would become like Billy. Mm-hmm. But it would have been more interesting if like maybe she like was killing animals or something when she was younger. Like there's nothing other than seeing him in mirrors. There's nothing about her that seems off at all.
No, she seems quite put together, actually.
Except for the very, very end when she kills the killer.
And she just stabs him for a little too long.
She just goes nuts on him and like really it seems to enjoy killing him and stabbing him.
It almost gave me Dexter vibes of like she has a murderous instinct, but she's going to suppress it and release it when she needs to.
Right. And then she goes up to...
Also, in the beginning, they were like, oh, she's had a rough past. And Judy Hicks is like, we don't want you in this town. It's like, well, what did she do? She was just like a teenager who got drunk and did some drugs?
I guess so. Judy Hicks, who one of the only characters from Scream 4 to be part of this movie, she was sort of a fun deputy in Scream 4. Now she's the sheriff because I guess they asked Dewey to stop being a sheriff. And she's such a straight character. She lost all the comedy that was her character.
Yeah.
And she dies. Judy dies in like broad daylight.
I was just gonna say she is stabbed to death in broad daylight in the middle of the street.
And I kind of was like, well, this is different, but I don't know if I'm scared. That's been a lot of reviews, by the way, have been saying. Even the good reviews have been saying it's not that scary.
It's not. That's the thing that I kept. There are many things I was thinking. Well, I feel like I was thinking about a lot while I was watching this.
Sure.
And reflecting.
You can't
on a
help.
lot. You can't help it, especially when you're tied to a series like this. And I just kept thinking, like, I want it to be fresh, but maybe it's just not ever going to be fresh again. The more we try to do it and freshen it up, the worse it gets. Not to say that this was bad, but like, it's like trying to capture lightning in a bottle or something. We're just not going to do it again.
It can't happen again.
It can't happen again. So, and just like Scream 4, I think Scream 4 is great. It's not scary. This one is good. It's not scary.
I think I like Scream 4 better than this.
I don't, and I'll say I think this is way better written than Scream 4. I think the dialogue and the characters, even the new kids, are all way better than the ones in Scream 4.
Okay.
And there was some stuff about this I really liked. I liked that it turns out that almost sort of like the final girl was the first victim. She didn't die in the beginning, and she's the one who kills the killer finally at the end.
Yeah, that right away is a really interesting subversion of what you expect, which is she's attacked the main character's younger sister's attacked in the beginning. She's the first kill, but she doesn't die. We find out that she's alive and she's in a hospital, and he even attacks her again, and she
survives
die.
again, and she lives to the end.
Right. So the killers are the protagonist's boyfriend, who she meets when she moves away, and a girl who is part of the friend group, who I kind of right away was like, I bet she's the killer.
I was hoping that there would be some subversion of there being just two. I was waiting for there to be a third.
Me too.
Yeah, because they kept saying like, well, there's always two. It's like they kept calling things before they happened, but then sometimes not subverting them at all.
Yeah.
And then when it was like, babe, we're going to make this movie, and it was like they're lovers and they're obsessed with movies together. It's like, we did this in Scream 4. Like, this was the exact reveal in Scream 4.
Right.
And in Scream 4, the concept was like the Randy was the killer this time around.
Right. Yeah, in this one, I think I wanted whoever the killer is to not just be nobody. Like I think I wanted them to somehow maybe be someone from the original cast.
I wanted Matthew Lillard back. There have been rumors about that for months. Yeah. And I nudged you in the middle, and I was like, I feel like we're getting there, because there's a lot of, and I think they're purposeful now, a lot of misdirects to make you think that it's going to be Stu.
Right.
Because right in the very beginning, the question that she gets wrong on the phone is, who's the killer? And she says Billy Loomis, and he's like, no, you forgot about Stu.
Right.
And then like two other times characters say like, oh, don't forget, there was Stu. Remember, Stu was there too. So I thought that the ending was going to be like, Stu somehow is still alive, and it's like, I want my due. I was one of the original killers and nobody ever remembers me. People only remember Billy.
Right. That was Kevin Williamson's original idea for 4.
I think that's a great idea.
I feel like
Although
it would really rewrite 2 and 3 to be like, we never mentioned that Stu didn't die.
Right. It would, but it does.
Just the fact that it's like, it's this one's boyfriend and it's this girl in a group, and they're both like, we can get to this. I do like that their whole thing is they're toxic fans.
Yes.
Like their whole thing is like, we're the
how
people
how could fandom be toxic? It's about love. That was a great line.
Like literally their thing is like, the Stab movies are bad now. The last Stab movie was nothing but social justice, and they just like, literally it's like, it's as if people who hated The Last Jedi went crazy. Like
they went too woke, and they just pissed the fans off. They don't care about the fans.
Yeah.
That stuff was all really smart.
Yeah, when he was like, they don't care about the fans. They forgot about us. And supposedly, and I guess this is kind of clever, they weren't just doing this meta, we're recreating a movie. They knew that there would be a Stab movie. So they're like, we're giving them source material to use.
Right.
Because we don't, basically it's like, it's a version of the people who did like that online campaign to redo The Last Jedi or the last season of Game of Thrones. I love that, and I wonder how people react. I wonder if toxic fans are gonna like hate this movie because they're the bad guys.
Well, at one point somebody's watching a video that's titled "Redo Stab 8."
Yeah,
and then they make the funny joke with it, like, and why is it just called Stab? Like, stop trying to pretend you're the original. We all know it's Stab 8.
Right, and they even put like an 8 over the B, which is funny because people have been saying this could have been Scream 5 where the 5 was the S.
Yeah. 5 cream.
But does that calling it out make it better?
No. And it's like, it knows what it is, and that's really smart. And the Scream movies are always smart, but that doesn't mean that they're always really, really good.
Well, see, going back to what you were saying about maybe it can never be fresh, I found myself thinking, maybe just this thing can only bend so much. Maybe this is all it is. Like, this is all it could be. Like, it can, there's no way to do it again. You know what I mean? There's no way to completely revitalize it. I don't see a way. I mean, like, maybe doing like a straight remake of the first movie. And
well, they talk about that reboots that are remakes people don't like.
Right.
People want requels, which is like, we've called them legacy sequels.
But there's this little difference, because what they're talking about is like, see, I use the term legacy sequel, which is like, you know, the new Ghostbusters, the new Star Wars, the new Halloween, where you have a new cast, but you bring in the old cast, and there's a lot of prestige to it.
And they name check those movies.
Right. But they're conflating that with what they call requels, which is like the new Thing movie, John Carpenter's Thing, where it kind of could be a sequel, but kind of can be a remake.
Right.
That was sort of more prevalent a couple years ago. They don't get into the idea of prestige in it, and I don't know. I feel like
they do say like, we need the original cast back, the fan favorites.
Right. Yeah.
I think that there was a good line where she was like, "This move, one of the kills was like, our movie has stakes."
Right, because spoiler alert, Dewey dies in this.
But did you care that Dewey died?
No, because I felt like he had to.
Yeah, and I felt like he was the most broken, dispensable of the three of them.
Right.
Like, oh well, if we got to kill one of the big three because it's ridiculous and they even say, "Come on, Sydney, it's ridiculous you survived this many times."
That's why she says our movie has stakes. She's referring to. She said we even killed Dewey. Right. Our movie has stakes.
Right.
Which is clever. And for a minute I thought they might kill Gale too.
I thought that they were going to kill Gale and it was just going to be Sydney as the sole survivor.
Right.
I want to know. See, this is a criticism, and maybe we're being too harsh because whatever. But I feel like every time we do one of these sequels, starting with 3, it becomes a paint by numbers where it's the new characters. It's this one. It's that one. We get a bit of an update on Gale and Dewey's relationship, and then Sydney is always relegated to Act 3. Like, why can't we ever just have Sydney be the main character again?
I feel like she's in 4 way more.
She is.
This one felt much more like Scream 3, where she doesn't show up to the end.
No, she's in a phone call.
It's really more. Dewey is the Han Solo of this. Dewey is the guy who they go to and is the legacy character that's with them the longest and goes on their journey with them.
There are a lot of parallels between this movie and Force Awakens, if you really think about it.
Tons. Tons.
Because she is like Rey,
Right.
and he is like Han Solo.
And I do like the
and
idea.
even Han Solo and Leia are like not together.
Yeah. And I do like the idea that they gave the new cast room to breathe and for us to know them and care about them. And
Yeah,
I
the
really
kids were
liked,
good.
I really like the twins who are the niece and nephew of Randy. They were funny. They were fun.
And I love that they both survived.
Right, right. I think the best one in the movie is the girl who is the killer goes downstairs, and so she lives in Stu's house, which I think they don't think we can realize, or I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking like, wow, that would be a really great, because it's supposed to be like they turn the lights on and then the audience realizes with them that you're in Stu's house, but. Maybe just from the trailer, like from the minute they got there, we're like, oh, she lives in Stu's house.
Well, the minute they show the stairs, it's like that's the stair.
Right.
But I feel like then I'm like, okay, we're supposed to know, but then the movie seems to reveal it to us, and it's like, did you think we didn't know?
There's more clever ways they could have done that. They could have done like a backyard party, and then you don't see the house, and then when they go inside, you realize you've been in Stu's house the whole time. Because that could have been a really great moment where it's like you fool the audience, and as the audience member, you're like, oh shit, we've been in Stu's house the whole time.
It also immediately makes me go, oh, well, then the girl who lives here is the killer.
Right, because she lives in Stu's house.
Right. Who's the girl she was texting in the beginning?
Right, Amber. And I thought that she was going to be related to Stu somehow.
Right. The killers are not related in any way. They're just more people that are crazy that want to get on board.
And they met on Reddit. It's very, very much like Final Girl Support Group.
I do like whenever she's cornered, she's like, I'm sorry. I was radicalized by the internet.
Yeah. Her death is pretty cool.
Well, she burns.
Yeah, they light her up.
And then she comes back and... Well, anyway, I was saying my favorite moment is she goes into the basement, and we don't know yet that she's the killer. I suspected. But she goes to the basement, and it seems like it's going to be the scene from part 1 where Tatum dies.
Right.
And then she closes the door, and the shock is it's the girl, Randy's niece. And she's like, you shouldn't have come down here alone. And then she's like, why? She's like, you have to, she's the one, she's like the Randy in it, and she's always doing the rules, but it's not annoying like the way it has been in some of the other sequels. Like it feels genuine that she is interested in these things. And then the best moment is when the niece goes, she goes, I know you're not the killer because I'm the killer. Okay, I'm not, but imagine if I was. And it's such
she goes, I'm actually not.
Yeah. But what's funny is the other girl is the killer.
Right. Her reveal was pretty good too. When she was like, the girl was like, "I'm not the killer. I'm not the killer," and then she's like, "I know you're not," and she pulls out the gun and shoots her. That was good.
Although I love when when the killer comes out of the house and pretending like she's stabbed, and Gail and Sydney, and they just go, "What do you buy this? Do you think? What do you think about this?"
I love that they were like the old veterans,
and they were like,
"No, this is a trap."
They figured it. Yeah, they see it all. They understand it all. They're just so old hat at it.
Yeah, that part was really fun. I also really loved the line when she was on the phone and Sydney was like, "I'm bored," and she hangs up, and you hear him go, "No, wait."
That was awesome. That was so good. Great. I'm bored. Yeah, it's yeah.
She was good.
There's stuff in it that I absolutely loved.
Yeah,
and then there's stuff in it that's like I don't know.
What was the deal with Vince?
Oh,
they introduced this weird guy to be killed 5 minutes later.
Yeah, like this weird guy who's like stalking one of the girls, and then she dies. The thing that's cool about that scene is they on his radio in his car, "Red Right Hand" is playing, and he dies to the song "Red Right Hand."
Right, because the killers know that was in the Scream movie.
Or maybe it's in the Stab movies.
I guess. I don't know. That's a weird returning song.
They show Stab 1 in this movie, and they showed Stab 1 in Scream 2, but in a sort of more parodic way.
Yeah.
And in this one, they show it, and it looks like an exact replica of like what we really saw with like Randy. Like, we have a scene where Randy's niece is on the couch watching Randy on the couch watching Jamie Lee Curtis, and they're all saying, "Look behind you, look behind you."
And she actually does look behind her.
Yeah, and then she gets attacked.
Yeah, that was cool. I think that the opening was good because I feel like it was closest in scariness to the Drew Barrymore one.
Right, because he doesn't immediately go, I'm scary. He like talks to her normal for a little while.
Randy Jackson coming back is really great.
No,
Randy Jackson. From American Idol. Yeah. Roger Jackson.
Yes, Roger Jackson coming back is
it's
really
a no from me, dog.
I mean, he's been in all of them, but it's the first. Yes,
I feel like it's different. It sounds more like the original voice.
The voice of Ghostface has always been the same.
They haven't fucked with it at all, really?
No. But I feel like from 2 on, he's always been in mode.
Yeah.
Whereas this was like the beginning of the first one where he's talking to Drew Barrymore and like flirting with her, and he just sounds like a regular guy.
Right. And she thinks it's one of my mother's new boyfriends.
Right, because her
something.
mother's an alcoholic, and
yeah,
there's still themes in it of like parents.
Yeah,
you know,
you never see the mother.
I mean, one way to maybe read all of these films is like the weird incestuous like bad shit that happens in small towns.
Yeah. But that I was gonna say, even though I thought the opening was really good, I actually still think that Scream 4's opening was way more clever.
This movie was
movie inside a movie inside a movie.
This movie was really clever in terms of its meta dialogue, but it was not on a sort of textual level. It wasn't very meta. It really plays itself straight, even though there's like they talk about the rules and all the stuff that you usually get in a Scream movie. There was none of that stuff that you were just talking about. Where Scream 4, like there's like 5 different openings where it just keeps going in itself. So it had less.
And even at the end of Scream 4,
like the sort of satirical wink.
Yes. And in Scream 4, like at the end, how they subvert the ending, they do like the taxi driver ending, and then it keeps going longer than you feel like it should.
Right.
They didn't do that.
See, I really did think there was going to be a third killer, and that would have been such a good way to be like, oh, or maybe even more. Or like in the scene where they were in the basement, I thought maybe they're both killers, but they don't know. Like maybe there are 2 independent killers working at the same time.
I was thinking that too. I thought that one of the when the scene where Dewey dies, when he shoots that ghost face.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we got him. I thought that it was going to be like, we got the killer halfway through.
Right,
and then it's going to be like,
yeah.
Yeah. And then it was like, there's another one though.
Right.
That would have been really clever.
Yeah.
I hate to be this guy, but they bend the rules in Scream 4 too. They're doing it in Scream 5 again. Like, do you buy that this like very tiny teenage girl like threw Dewey around like that and killed him?
Yeah, I mean that goes back to 2. You know, I mean like Laurie Metcalf.
No, but she at least. I'm not talking about the fact that she's a woman. I'm talking about the fact that it's like
Laurie Metcalf's like 5 feet tall.
Yeah, at least she's a grown woman. Like the last 2 movies, the killer has been like a tiny teenage girl.
Yeah, the boyfriend killer I think was a better performance. I liked it. The girl went crazy and I liked it, but I have to say I prefer Emma Roberts in 4. I think Emma Roberts in 4 might be my favorite killer since the first one. Because she's a great actress, and I really bought all that insanity.
And I was actually really surprised when she turned out to be the killer in Scream 4.
Right.
There's so much family stuff.
I know. It's so much like Star Wars.
It is. It's so incestuous. Even thinking about this new protagonist is Billy's daughter, and then the last one was Sydney's cousin, and then the one before was her brother, her half brother that she never knew she had.
And again, this one has to do with an infidelity in the past.
Yeah, it's
right.
weird.
Billy. I guess when he was
Billy was just like fucking some other girl.
Right. So what? Weird.
It would have been interesting if at least at one point Sydney said like, I remember that girl, like I know her.
Right.
Like, they didn't even mention like who that girl might have been.
Why couldn't she have been related to Stu? Wouldn't that have made more sense given all of the mentions of that?
Because Billy Loomis is the Darth Vader character now.
I guess, but he's good, I guess.
I thought that's, again, I'm gonna stick with. I thought it was cool.
It's stupid,
but it is stupid. But I thought it was cool.
It's one thing that this movie I think is good at is it has a lot of fun understanding because it's not made by Wes Craven. Wes Craven passed away, and it's not even written by it's all new writers, all new producers, and then there are some old producers it's just a name. Mm-hmm. So it, like a Lego sequel, it has a new team coming in to create this movie, and so they grew up on it and they were fans. So you have that outsider perspective. Right. And this movie gets a lot more fun out of the whodunit of it. Like, is it you? Is it you? There's tons and tons of scenes of like, is it you? No, it's you. Don't be alone. God. Or even when her little sister's tied up, she like stops. Like, maybe it's my sister. Like,
right.
It's
one of my favorite scenes is when the character played by Chad. Is it Chad Meeks?
Yeah.
The boy twin, when he's like about to have sex with his girlfriend, and the Mason Gooding, he's like, maybe not yet, and she's like, why not? And he's like, because I'm 99% sure you're not, but what if you're the killer?
Right.
Like that
was
good.
Really fun.
Yeah,
that was really fun. Or when the male killer, who is played by Jack Quaid, he's Richie. He says, I'll be right back. And they both go, and they like laugh like Like, we all know this.
Yeah.
So, like,
I had a feeling from the beginning he was the killer.
me too, but then I was like, I thought it was too obvious for him to be the killer.
Well, he even says, like, Dewey nailed it in 2 seconds.
Right, you're right. Dewey immediately starts questioning him.
But I love that Dewey just talking to her, and he's like, how well do you know this guy?
Yeah. Does he know who your father is? Does he seem interested in your father?
Yeah.
Like, Dewey was right. He immediately figured it out.
So I guess we're to understand that Gail got offered a daytime show in New York City.
And Dewey went with her.
tried to live with her in New York City but couldn't stay there. Like, it wasn't him, so he left in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess they couldn't keep them together because that too feels
They're together
unrealistic.
in 4.
And it's a shock when they're together in 4 at the beginning.
Right.
When he gets out of bed and she's still there.
Right. I like that. Unlike 4 makes him such a joke. One of the, I think, reflections of this being a new team that grew up with it is they seem to care more about Dewey and treat him with more respect. Like, he's still funny and says funny things, but he's not a complete clown. Like, in the Wes Craven movies, as like 3 and 4, Dewey's just a fucking clown.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, like, Dewey is I don't know, he feels more like a real person.
I love how they keep making jokes about how, like, Dewey's been stabbed a million times.
Yeah. And he's like, maybe you're the killer because that cut hard. That cut deep.
Yeah, that was really good. There's a lot of, they play very fast and loose with, like, how people could survive injuries.
Yeah.
Like, I love how, like, Gail's been shot in the gut. Sydney's been stabbed in the gut. And they're, like, not even in an ambulance. They're just sitting there watching at the end. And then the hospital scene, that took me out of it a little bit. Like, where is every fucking... Do you know how many people work in a hospital?
Well, that's, to me, every movie that takes place in a hospital, it's like...
There is no nighttime at a hospital.
The hospital turns off like it's a store.
And there's one security guard. Like, where are all the nurses? The nurses' aides, this one, that one. Like, there are a million
Hospitals
people
are pretty busy
walking around a
places.
hospital.
Yeah.
At all times. And other patients.
I know, there was nobody.
There was nobody. That was weird.
I like in the first scene when the killer is talking to, and I'm gonna have IMDb because we got to start saying people's names and stuff,
And characters' names because we don't remember any of them.
Yeah, the first kill or the first attack is Jenna Ortega, Tara Carpenter. Their last name is Carpenter.
Yeah.
There's also a character named Wes in this.
Yeah, a little too much of that.
That's, I guess, throughout the whole.
I guess it's a lot.
The whole series, and it ends with 4 Wes.
Yeah.
Much like Ghostbusters ended with 4 Harold.
Did you notice there were 2 young girls sitting a few seats to my left?
I saw you eyeing them like these damn kids won't shut
the fuck up. But at the end,
I was waiting for you to yell at them.
I was going to. But at the end, that came on the screen, and one of the girls goes, "Who's Wes?"
Oh,
what a slam!
That's exactly right.
So, like, I wonder what those kids thought. They were probably like, "This is stupid."
Maybe.
Like,
I don't know.
Is this a movie only for fans of the original Scream?
I don't know. I don't know. It's
Who's Wes? The nerve. The audacity.
What if they were? But there was also a character named Wes, so they could have been like, "Who?"
This whole movie
guy?
was dedicated to that kid.
That one kid. God, I'm still processing it. You know, it'll probably take another watch and a few more days before I decide. I mean, I think that I like it because I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, I was having fun watching it.
I do think
this is the way you were with Scream 4, I'll remind you. You didn't like Scream 4 when we first saw it.
Yeah.
I remember, I'll never forget because you said weak sauce, and I was like, what, are you high? And you were very, very high.
I was very high. Well, those were different days.
You're like, this is weak sauce.
I feel like, though, Wes Craven had more fun. This movie didn't it lack some fun to you?
I was actually going to say I thought it had a lot of funny moments and funny lines.
Funny moments.
I did like when
its tone, I think.
Yeah, it took itself pretty seriously. When the killer came out and Richie goes, "Oh my God, it's Ghostface." That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then it turns out he was the killer, which made it even funnier.
Everyone's saying Ghostface in this.
When did they start calling him Ghostface in universe?
If this isn't the first time, it's in 4. Which is really interesting. I also like in the beginning when the killer calls, he doesn't say, I'm gonna ask you about scary movies. He goes, I'm gonna ask you stab trivia.
Yeah, that's what I thought was really cool. Was it's like now it's like the snake has eaten its own tail.
Yeah,
like now we're asked the classic horror movie is Scream.
Right. Stab is the classic movie.
Right, and Stab is always just, sort of a stand-in for Scream itself.
Right. And
where in the original he's asking about like Michael Myers and and Freddy. I thought that was really funny, that line where he was like, so Halloween? And she's like, no, it's not like Halloween. And he's like, it sounds a lot like Halloween.
Yeah, that
and
was
she's like,
fun.
all right, it's kind of like Halloween.
That was fun. He asked the girl, what's your favorite scary movie? She says, Babadook. It's a great meditation on motherhood and postpartum depression.
Yeah, they kept talking about elevated horror.
Right, which is a term that I'm personally not familiar with.
Me neither, but I thought it was cool that she name-checked like It Follows and a couple of other movies.
She was like, I don't even like those stupid slasher movies. I like good horror movies. Jordan Peele. They talk about Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele's great. I guess in the scene that you're supposed to think that maybe Randy's niece is the killer, she's like, yes, Jordan Peele is great, but stab movies were always just fun slashers. And
I thought it was a really meta moment for me.
Yeah.
When she was like, for a lot of people, Stab is the movie that made them fall in love with movies. And it's like, that's Scream to like a lot of people.
Right.
Including like us.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And probably also that's the voice of the directors of this movie speaking.
Right. So many people have that experience with Scream, I think, because it was a movie about movies.
Right. No, yeah.
And I was just thinking, like, reflecting on how you and I have seen every Scream, except for 3. We didn't see 3 together, but we've seen every Scream movie together from the time we were little children to now.
Yes. Yeah. No, it is a legacy franchise.
Project. Yeah. Oh, she says franchise at one point, one of the kills, and that was good too. She was like, she says somebody's too weak for this franchise.
Oh, right.
I thought that was a good line.
Yeah, the meta dialogue is good.
Yeah.
When the killer kills Dewey, he says it's an honor.
Yeah. Oh, that was her, she says.
Yes, she says
she
that
said,
was
I
her.
can't believe, because she's about to kill Gail, and she says, I can't believe I killed Dewey. My face was the last thing Dewey saw when he died, and now I'm about to kill you too.
Right, I did you both. Yeah.
And she guts Dewey.
Yeah.
The violence was great.
Yeah, it was very violent. It was super violent. In the beginning, when the girl who's being attacked crawls away, the killer breaks her ankle, steps on it.
Yeah.
It's pretty violent.
It's interesting if you look.
So is 4. 2 and 3 were kind of like in a weird space culturally.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, if you look back at them, it's interesting the different levels of gore.
Yeah.
I feel like this is one of the bloodier ones, and one of the ones, there's like the one killing in 4 where like you're expecting the camera to move away when he's stabbing the girl on the bed, and it doesn't, and you're like, oh shit, like this is really savage. And there's a lot of that in this one. Well, like just stabbing.
Yeah, just multiple stabbings.
Yeah.
And then, but when the protagonist, Vanessa,
she's great.
Yeah, she's been shaking her ass for like half the heights. When
how long have you had that in your pocket?
The Sam Carpenter.
Sam Carpenter.
She's the lead character, played by Melissa Barea. When she stabs the killer, Richie, it goes through his whole head. Like it goes through one cheek and then out the other cheek. And also when
Wes dies,
it goes like through his neck.
Yeah, that was good.
It was pretty visceral kind of horror.
Not a ton of jump scares.
No. There's a lot of like setup for jump scares, and then the killer's just right there.
Right.
Like when with West, there's like 9 fake outs where like he opens something and he closes it. He opens it, and then he's just there. Even in the beginning with the girl in the beginning, she opens the door and Ghostface is just right there, standing right there.
Again, not to compare it to Scream 4, but not as good as, remember in Scream 4 when one is chasing her and then she opens the door and there's another one?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, there's 2 Ghostfaces. Yeah, he says to her, what do you think the chances are that I got into your house? And then he just pops out right from behind her.
Yeah.
Did he have a glittery sort of like robe this time around?
Well, it's all in the lighting. Because in 1 it kind of has that too.
Okay, it seemed a little disco.
Right. Okay, yeah. I like when they showed, this was in the trailer, and I was like, is this for real?
Yeah, me too.
But it ended up being in the last Stab movie that the fans hated, where the Ghostface has a silver mask and he uses a flamethrower. That's fun. It is a funny idea of like, oh, the series is terrible now.
Yeah.
And just the idea of like, they hate us. They hate the fans.
Yeah, that's great. Because
That's such like Star Wars toxic
it's
fans.
everything. I feel like it's everything. Anytime they redo anything, there's always, or make a sequel to anything, there's that.
Why do the killers always have to be together? I guess it only happens in this and the last one. But
Yeah,
it's like,
well-
but like they'll be like, hey, babe. And it's like, okay, you've indicated to me that you two are fucking.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I feel like
I mean, there's that great queerness in the first movie, the queer subtext between Billy and Stu.
some of the funniest TikToks I've ever seen are like people watching that movie, and they're like, when I realized I was gay and psychotic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why one of those areas where I feel like it really just hit the same note as 4. With the killers being a couple, like a fucked up couple.
Yeah.
And like we're gonna make a movie.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
It's the same.
Yeah. Exactly.
I did like when to bring it back to some of the themes from the first one, like virginity and virtue versus whatever.
Yeah.
When he's like, oh, it was easy to get to know you. It was even easier to fuck you.
Yeah. The killer's always sexist.
Yeah.
It's always like we're calling you bitch. And
Yeah.
It's weird.
But I thought it was not so much a throwaway line, but I think like a nod to like the theme from the first one, where they make a big point in the first one of like only virgins survive,
Right.
and then she has sex, so she's supposed to die then.
That's why Gooding is like he turns her down. Like, because we learned in the first scene that they haven't had sex yet.
Right.
And then she's like, at the party, she's like, let's go upstairs. And he says no to it. So presumably he's a virgin and he wants to maintain his virginity.
Yeah.
And he does live.
He
Both
does.
the twins live, which is great.
And they give each other a thumbs up, which is, they really did feel like family members of Randy.
Yeah. Yeah. And they were a cute brother-sister couple. And their mother was Heather Mazzarato.
In a wild performance.
Coming back from her cameo in Scream 3. I would have never guessed that. I would have never guessed that character would come back and was their mother.
Oh, I did. I was waiting for her. Yeah, I was like, where is this chaotic energy I've been waiting for? Heather Matarazzo is wild. She comes in giving like a performance like the mother from Sleepaway Camp.
Has she been in a movie?
I think she forgot how to act decades
since
ago.
Scream fucking 3?
She was in The Princess Diaries as the spunky friend. Was that before or after Scream 3? Even in Scream 3, she's giving a terrible performance.
Oh, come on. You're too hard
I mean,
on
she's
her.
an icon, but
I don't even see her in the... Is she not credited?
She might not be.
I don't see her on IMDb.
She showed up to set one day.
And she was like, I could be their mother. I'm like, okay.
They put her in.
Right. The twins are played by the twins, which are Mindy Meeks Martin and
Chad, right?
Yeah, Chad Meeks Martin.
They look
that's
so
Mason Gooding,
similar.
Cuba Gooding's son.
They look like the real brother. I thought they were real brother and sister for a minute.
She's played by Jasmine Savoy Brown. She's really good.
Yeah.
She's the kind of character where once you know she's not the killer, you really like her. You're like,
right.
Or you're like, she's fun.
Yeah.
She's probably my favorite Randy since the real Randy.
Mm-hmm.
Because
in Scream 4, the Randy was the killer.
Right. She struck me as like, I don't know, a real fan, not like a, I don't know, like
not like a Kirby from Scream 4.
Yeah, like something. She seemed genuine. Like she seemed to really love movies. They have in their house like a Randy, like the Randy Meeks Memorial home theater, and a picture of him. And
that was sweet.
Also, Dewey has Tatum's ashes like in a box somewhere.
Yeah. God, he's what a sad man.
Yeah, what a sad life Dewey's had.
Are we to assume that he became an alcoholic?
I believe so. There's alcohol all over his house.
Yeah, it's true. I just don't want to believe it.
You don't want to.
You know, Judy Hicks is an odd character because she is almost like that cop in the new Halloween. That's like, I was there that night, but you just didn't see me. Mm-hmm. Like, she went to high school with them, but she's not in the original Scream.
Right, she just shows up in 4 as to be a red herring.
Yeah, and then she comes back in this one, and it's... They even make a joke of it. They're like... Wes is like, well, my mom was involved, and they're like, nobody cared about your mom.
Yeah, like, he's like, my mom was a character in one of these movies, and they're like, the original is the only one people care about.
Yeah, it's weird because she's almost like they almost treat her with the reverence of like she's an original.
Well,
but
she's no longer funny.
Not.
She's like just I don't know what they have
like
a weird like scene where she's racing back to the house, and I
thought that
do
was
like the
pretty
way the
good.
killer kills her. Like he draws her back to the house, and then when she runs up to the door, he pops out and kills her. Yeah, and then kills the son. There's I don't know. Maybe it's just my sore tooth talking.
I thought
as
Nev
much as I
Campbell
liked
was
it,
great.
Who?
Nev Campbell was great.
She's great. She looks great.
Are you allowed to say that?
I don't know if you're.
She
allowed to
does
say
look great.
She looks amazing.
What did I say to you? She was like, I came as soon as I heard about Dewey, and I was like, she looks really great for somebody who just got here.
She also has like
heard the
kids.
news.
She seems like she has like 7 kids.
Yeah.
She has one baby that she's jogging with a stroller. That she says the girls or whatever. So she's got kids in school.
Yeah. And
she has a husband.
We don't know anything about him.
I guess
we don't even know really where she lives.
No, she's just a nebulous sort of super character. But she was in it way less than I thought she was going to be. Yeah, I think I do like 4 better.
I don't know.
Because like the only thing that the 4 and this are trying to do the exact same things. It's trying to be like we had the original trilogy and that was its own thing, and now here's new characters and the old characters are coming back and we're back at Woodsboro. The only thing that this one does that the other one doesn't
is
it ends in Stu's house. But both were about like some of these new characters are related to older characters.
Yeah, I feel like I had a thought on the way home that like if there were no 4, this would be way better. Like
better
I'd
4?
love it way more.
Yeah.
Not that it would be a better 4, but like if we had just ended with 3 and then this came out, it'd be like, oh my God, this is amazing. But since we kind of already did some of this in 4, it's like, all right, this feels a little bit like a retread.
Yeah.
Of stuff we've already like emotional beats we've covered already.
Right. It didn't feel like a 5. Other than Judy Hicks, none of the characters from 4 are really are there.
There's no reason for it to be called just Scream.
No.
None at all.
There really isn't.
Unless that's a meta joke in itself.
I feel like no, that was a decision that they made for marketing, and then they made the joke based on it.
Yeah, because it's not. Halloween was called Halloween because it was ignoring all the other sequels and it was presenting itself as a straight continuation of the first one.
Right.
If they wanted to do that, do you remember when we did the Scream episode? I made a prediction.
Yeah.
I think you asked, like, what do you think the future of this franchise is? And I said, I think they're going to make one that's just called Scream and it's going to be a direct sequel to 1. And
you
they
were
kind
right,
of
you were half right.
Half right, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew that. I mean, everybody kind of knew this is the convention of this is where horror is right now.
Right. It's also just where movies are.
Yeah.
I think the reason this ends up being a lot like 4 or a different, an alternative universe version of 4 is because I don't think there's anything else you can do.
Well, that's the thing. That's why.
Especially if you do it in Woodsboro.
Yeah, like that's what I had that thought. Like I told you of like how maybe we just want something that cannot happen.
I think so. Like
I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, even Gail and Sydney surviving is kind of punky. Like I almost wish that Dewey had been the killer or something. Like something fucking really different.
Right. I was prepared.
Like he wants Gail to come back to Woodsboro and he's lost his mind.
Right. Because some of the early reviews were like, whoa, it's mind blowing. And I was like, I hope they take a radical turn here. Like, I hope there's really a crazy turn that I don't see coming, that for the first time since Scream 1, I'm actually surprised. And it's not, I found myself.
I wasn't surprised. I
was almost disappointed by the killers.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they're the killers.
Me too. And I feel like through the whole thing, you're like, all right, I just want to know who the killer is. Like, let's just get to who the killer is.
Right. There's a great line that Dewey says that's part of the trailer. Where it's like something feels different about this one,
but it's
like it's not. No, Dewey. Nothing feels different about this one. It's.
I
really
guess you're
not
supposed to. It's supposed to be different because it's Billy's daughter, but ultimately that doesn't add up to much.
Right. It's his daughter with someone we don't know. Did he even know he had a daughter?
And is she? I guess we talked about this when we started, but like, is she crazy? Like,
right?
Is that something she got from him?
Right. It just sort of ends.
Or is it from the trauma of learning at 13 that who she thought her dad was not her dad, and her dad was actually a serial killer?
Right. Yeah. And it ends. It
ends
in a weird
exactly way. Like with the same shot as the original.
Right.
These things, I don't know. I'm torn. I feel like sometimes they do these things to please the fans, like fan servicey things. But I'm just tired of stuff like that.
It's ironic that the killers in this movie are about or toxic fans that want things to be like they were, and then the movie itself ends up being not very radically different.
Right. Yeah.
Although it does have more diversity in it.
It does.
Which is one of the things that
they said that fans complained about.
Right.
I'm still processing it.
Yeah, me too.
Thinking back on it, going back to the reviews, all the reviews were saying it's so good, it's the best since the original, it's twists and turns, and wow, there hasn't been a Scream movie like this since the beginning and whatever. But it's those aren't from fans. I think those reviews are from reviewers who probably don't follow the series that closely, and it's they might have even just forgotten that there was a 4 that did a lot of this already.
I think. Well, I disagree. I think they are fans. I think they're not critics. I think this is one of these movies where you've got trailers or TV spots full of quotes, but if you look at the how they attribute it, it's
the attribution.
It's this dickhead's blog.
Ain't it cool news? Yeah.
It's a because it seems like fans probably. I mean, it's getting good reviews.
I'd love to spend a few hours on Twitter, just seeing what people are tweeting about it.
Yeah. I mean, we were in a basically empty theater.
That was another thing. I kept thinking, and obviously we're living in a pandemic world. There was 4 of us in that movie theater, and I kept thinking this would be so much more fun if this was a packed theater.
Absolutely.
Way more fun. Even the jokes getting laughs would have been more fun. When Dewey sends the text message saying the killer's back, don't come here, hope you're well, with the smiley face.
Yeah.
That was a funny joke.
So here we are. We're in your house. You're married. You've got a beard. You've probably got old bones.
Yep.
That creak when you wake up.
I sure do.
When we saw Scream 1, you were 9. Mm-hmm. You cared about candy. And did you believe in Santa Claus when we saw Scream 1?
I think I did. Well, it came out in December of 96.
Yeah.
So I just turned 10.
Okay.
So I was a little baby. I was
a man.
I was in 5th grade.
You said in the last episode, or not the last episode, but when we recorded our episode on Scream 1 through 4, you said that might have been the first scary movie you ever saw, or at least the first one in a theater.
It was definitely the first one in a theater. And it is so funny. And I was thinking about this too as we were watching it, you and I sitting here watching this together as old men at this point.
Yeah.
That you've brought up before, when we went to see the first Scream, I was so scared and crying that I wanted to leave.
Yeah.
And you were we're not fucking going anywhere. Sit down.
Right.
And then ended up loving it and being so proud of myself that I saw it.
Right.
And it just meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, I'm 35 and watching the 5th one, it is. I think
you've aged so much worse than Neve Campbell.
Way worse.
She looks the same.
She looks great. But I think that they were cognizant, the screenwriters. I do feel like the film was made with great love.
Yes, I agree.
And I think that they were cognizant of the fact that there are people like us that saw the first one when they were kids and then have been fans ever since.
Yes, because that's probably what they are.
Yeah, exactly.
We haven't said yet. This movie was directed by 2 people, Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette. And them together call themselves Radio Silence. They directed Ready or Not, which was a great movie. They also, I think, they were, at least, I don't know if they were behind it, but they worked on the first VHS movie.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, it in that way, it feels kind of fresh.
Right. I mean, if Wes Craven were alive and had done 5, it wouldn't feel like this. There would be less reverence towards things, but that could be better. I don't know. I mean, it's there's something to be said either way,
It's interesting that what you said before, I think it is true that it's the Scream trilogy is a thing.
Yeah.
And then it seems 4 and 5 are both epilogues to the original trilogy.
Right.
Because Scream 2 and 3 are the only ones that do anything different. Scream 2, she goes to college and it's Windsor College and that's the setting. Scream 3 does the whole Hollywood thing.
Right.
And then 4 and 5, it's we're back to Woodsboro. We're doing this again in the same exact setting.
Right.
So part of me, it's hard because people are very tough on 3 and that's warranted because 3 is the weakest.
Right.
But at least it's doing something different.
Yeah, I mean, like, so keeping the Star Wars metaphor going, Scream 3 is like episode 1.
Yeah.
And this is like The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
This is somebody else coming in who loves the original.
Right.
And wants to give you as much of that as possible, but like just freshen it up a little.
Although
bit.
interestingly, I think it's the same screenwriter for 3 and 4, right? Isn't it Aaron Kruger, both of them?
Right. This is
a
new
big
screenwriters.
Upgrade. A big upgrade.
This is new screenwriters.
Yeah.
And Kevin Williamson is just executive producer of this.
Which means nothing, right?
I think he was somewhat involved because he's at least, I've seen him in interviews. So I think he was around a little bit.
Well, they nod to him too with the Dawson's Creek. She's watching Dawson's Creek.
Right.
The Tara character in the hospital is sitting in bed and she's watching the Scream episode of Dawson's Creek. It's just like it's like a hat on top of a hat on top of a hat. It gets so meta.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder what they had wanted, at least they said, they wanted Scream 4 to kick off a new trilogy, and then Scream 4, I think, did not do well.
It did not do well.
But I wonder what, at least in Wes Craven's mind, the Scream 5 that followed that would have been.
Maybe it would have been like the Force Awakens, and it would have been each one of the 3 would have their own movie.
Right. See, we talked about this on the last episode we recorded about Scream. Kevin Williamson, who made the TV show The Following, that idea was his original idea for 4. He wanted 4 to be Stu is alive and he's in jail. And from jail, he has built a cult, and this cult was like killing people. Like, that would be awesome. Like I couldn't believe it was just 2 people again.
I know. I know. There were many opportunities for them to do something new.
Yeah. The 2 killers in the first movie was huge because you weren't expecting it, and it allowed you to it made sense of why some people here, some people were there. But then they just stuck with it, so it was going to be 2 people.
Well, but I feel like everybody keeps neglecting the fact that 3 is only 1 killer.
Right.
Was it supposed to be 2 and then they changed it?
Maybe, I don't know.
Because they keep saying like, well, there's always 2 killers. It's like, yeah, but in 3 there was only 1. And she never talks about that brother ever again.
The only thing you could say about this one is that usually there's one killer that you feel like that's the real killer and the other one's just a stooge. And this one, it feels like the 2 killers are both equally involved. It doesn't feel like they're looking to fuck each other over. You know, they seem like they're actually a team that are both interested in doing the exact same thing. They met on Reddit.
Yeah,
of course they did.
I liked when this is not related, but I liked when Courtney Cox called her the new character New Girl.
Yeah.
She's like, "Hey, New Girl." Like,
yeah,
it does. A lot of this reminds me of Final Girl Support Group.
Yeah,
because those killers were a couple that met on Reddit too.
Right. But that ends with them embracing the killer.
Yeah,
that would have been fun to do. For a second I thought they might do that because then when they have her cornered and the gun on her, she's like, I'm sorry.
I was
radicalized, which is fun. The whole toxic fandom thing, I think, was a fun angle to go with.
Yeah, I think the theme of this, I think that's tied to the theme here, and I feel like the big theme of 4 is it's like the reboot angle, right?
Yeah,
isn't that the whole thing? Like, we're gonna reboot it.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, 1, of course, is clever because it was a world. It was the first horror movie you ever saw where it existed in a world where there were horror movies, and then 2, even though 2 has its weaknesses, 2 was at least clever of being like about sequels.
A lot of people like 2 more than 1. 2 was better reviewed than 1 too.
Yeah. 2 has some cleverness.
Yeah, it does.
But then from 2 on, it's like it feels like it's whatever is right now the conversation in pop culture.
You know what I just realized? So this new character, Sam, is now the daughter of Billy and the granddaughter of Mrs. Loomis, who was the killer in the second one.
Yeah.
So she's like the 3rd generation of killer in the Loomis.
I know it mentions that.
She's not the killer, but she would be. She would have been like the 3rd generation. It's a lot. The family stuff is gotten to a point where it's getting ridiculous. It's all getting ridiculous.
That's the thing. Like,
it's too much.
How could this happen so many times?
Exactly.
That's the thing. Like, the more you make it becomes an impossible task of how do you make fresh something like this. The more you do it, you can't.
That's why I hope that that this does well, but I don't want another one. I don't. This can be it. I'm good.
I mean, if it does well enough, there will be.
But
and
I don't
then they'll
want
have
it.
to do like Halloween Kills, where it'll be like Scream again or Scream more.
It's too much.
Right, because they can't just start with the numbers again. Can't
There
do
was
two
also
again.
the Scream. They tried to like really reboot it with the MTV series,
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
was a weird.
I mean,
offshoot.
I imagine there were young people that enjoyed that.
I don't know. What do you think? I guess. What do you think the future of the franchise is? You think there'll be a sixth one? Or is this the start of a new trilogy like Halloween was?
That's the weird thing, because it's a popular enough franchise. Like 4 was a failure, but they still did this. If it is successful, they'll do one soon. If it isn't, they'll let it rest for 10 years and then try again. But maybe if you want to keep it going, maybe the right way is a straight remake.
You think that would be good?
I don't know if it would be good, but I don't know if we
by
can
the way,
have...
speaking of, did you see? I didn't even see a second of it. Did you see the trailer for the straight remake of I Know What You Did Last Summer?
No.
There's like I think it's a series on Hulu right now.
Oh yeah, wait, ooh, excuse me. I did see that trailer.
It looks fucking
Did
horrible.
you see the trailer? I didn't see it. I've heard about it. For Bel Air, that's like a serious.
Yeah, I think
The
that looks
Fresh
good.
Prince. Oh, okay.
It's like an hour-long drama retelling of Fresh
Wait,
Prince.
did you hear the bad news? The directors or the team behind Halloween and Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends is rebooting The Exorcist.
No.
That should be real terrible. That should be awful.
No, like a remake?
Yeah. Yeah, no good. I like that series though.
That was a fun like requel in a way. The
Yeah.
series. I didn't watch it, but it was cool that the twist was that the main character you find out is Reagan.
Yeah.
Oh man.
David.
So it's David Gordon Green and what's his face?
Well, it's at least David Gordon Green. I don't know. I'm not sure if Danny McBride's
I'm surprised that this
involved.
wasn't a Blumhouse joint.
Yeah, this was a Paramount picture.
Yeah, it was weird. It was
Crazy.
weird it not being Dimension.
Yeah, because even 4 wasn't it?
I think so, yeah. Well, I was thinking too, like you said, like when we went to see Scream and when the whole world saw Scream the first time, like nobody expected Drew Barrymore to die in the beginning.
Right.
It becomes all so predictable.
Right. Right. So it's like
Like when it starts, you're like, okay, this is the first kill. Okay.
and I think the movie thinks it's enough to just point it out, and I don't think it is enough to just point it out.
No.
Because the first attack in this, she goes like, because he's like, what do you know about the Stab movie? She's like, oh, I know the first scene's always a kill and the first character.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, okay. So, it's like, how do you replicate surprises? This
You
is why
can't.
M. Night Shyamalan has had a disastrous career, because he's constantly tried to replicate surprises. This is why American Horror Story, right? American Horror Story, spoiler alert, has an amazing surprise in the middle of season 1 where one of the main characters had been dead. And we didn't know it, and that was huge. And then you can't replicate surprises, really.
I know. And, again, maybe this movie will make us, maybe this one will make us like Scream 3 more. Because in fairness, I thought Scream 3's opening was really clever. Because the first kill was Cotton.
Right.
And it was like, oh, this is somebody you already know is the first kill.
Right.
3 did do a lot of different stuff.
Right.
It tried different stuff. It sucks, but it tried different stuff.
At the end when the main character, Sam, comes up to Sydney and she says, can I ask you something weird? Am I going to be all right? I thought she was going to ask, I killed somebody and that's weird. How do you feel about having killed somebody? How do we go on now as we're killers too?
Right.
But that didn't
That
happen.
would have been way too deep.
It would have been interesting, especially because it would have at least made some sense given that she's Billy's...
Yeah. I mean, how many
daughter.
people has Sydney killed at this point?
She's murdered so many people.
And she said it.
She didn't kill anybody in this, though. The final blows are done by the two sisters.
Oh, yeah. But she's like, I'm not going to rest till he's in the ground. Like, they're going to kill whoever
She's
it is.
straight up Batman now. And she's fine with it. She sleeps fine.
And you see some of that in 4, but I feel like they turned it even up in this one.
Yeah.
Where she's like not. I did love that though. Like her and Gail not scared at all. And then I love when they get there and you hear the girl screaming and Gail's like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I do like their old what do you think about this? Oh, now this is gonna happen.
And I thought that the sister relationship was supposed to be like a mirror sort of the Sydney and Gail sisterhood that they've developed. Remember, they started as enemies. And
Right.
I did like that.
Ooh,
when
that was the best. That was a great scene.
Yeah, Gail was like, this never would have happened if I didn't write the book about your mother. It's my fault.
See, I'm so glad you reminded me of that scene. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff you get from it being a new director and a new team that have thought deeply about this.
Yeah.
To have Gail for the first time really regret some of her career.
Yeah.
And be like, this is all me. But then Nev Campbell's like, it's not all you. It's Billy's fault.
Yeah.
Like it's her, but which is consistent with her character. Her character has always been like, the scapegoat's never right. It's always your choice to kill people. But it was interesting to have Gail have that. That was a good scene. That was good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of the good. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff in it.
Yeah.
That was really good. And I don't know how I feel like they hinted at like Gail's writing career picking back up again.
Yeah.
That was kind of an odd. Yeah.
Well, I did like when she said, I'm not going to write about this. I'd rather them die in anonymity.
Yeah, that was good.
I guess that's a payoff to that conversation.
And I did love the meta joke that she made on her little morning show about like, oh, I had bangs in the early 2000s.
Making fun of the Screen 3 bangs.
Yeah. She's
the
like,
infamous Screen 3 bangs.
Never let me do that again.
Yeah. Yeah. That even came up in the interviews for this movie.
Yeah. She knows that people make fun of them.
Right. It was a mistake that they just went with. The hair, it's a wig, and the hair person just cut it too short. It's because it's not bangs. It's
like weird. It's like fringe on top of her head. It's horrible.
It's terrible. It's crazy. She is wearing a bright red suit in this, which is typical Gail.
Yeah.
I do think one of the funniest jokes is when Sam is like, so you want me and the host of this morning show to go kill somebody? And they're both like, yes.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So we ended our last Scream entry by ranking them. How would you rank them now?
I feel like one of them's still loading because I don't know where I put 5. But I bet that once the dust settles, my ranking's probably going to be 1, 4. I'm not sure if I don't know. I started this podcast saying I like 5 more than 4, but maybe I do like 4 more. I'm not sure what's going to be. The second place spot is going to be either 5 or 4.
Yeah.
And then 2, and then 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what mine is. I think I'd say 1, 4, 5,
2, 3.
Yeah. I think you were right when you said if there hadn't been a 4, this would be more of a revelation.
Yeah.
But it really just redoes 4.
And, but also weirdly acknowledging that 4 did happen.
Right, because you've got Judy in it.
And they said the last time it happened was 2011.
Right. No, they don't ignore the other ones.
Right.
It's that sort of soft canon thing.
Yeah. If anything, the one that they ignore the most is 3. They don't ever reference 3 again.
Yeah, she never talks about her brother.
Yeah, they never talk about... Yeah. I mean, the stab movies they do keep, and those are from... Well, that comes in 2, but it's a big part of 3. But yeah, they don't... They really don't talk a lot about anything that happened in 3.
Yeah. Well, I think we've done the best we could.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think the listeners will be satisfied with this podcast?
Well, it's a reaction, and I think we got into it. We talked deeply about it. I'm sure as time goes on, we will have different thoughts, and we'll have thoughts tomorrow that we didn't think today.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll probably see it, another time. But yeah, this is the conversation we would have had with or without the podcast.
Right. Well, that's why I asked you. I was like, do you want to just not talk at all and we'll just save it for the podcast?
Yeah.
So this is fresh.
I prefer to not speak outside of the podcast in general.
Because why waste your time?
No, I mean if you're not making content, what's even the point?
The next Scream movie will be about a murder podcast.
They kind of did that in the show.
Did they?
That was like the Gale character was kind of like a podcaster.
Nothing's original. No one's ever had an original thought.
I know. Well, this has been PCMC. I'm Mike Bongiorno. I'm joined by Anthony Bongiorno. We end every episode by saying,
go bye-bye.
Go bye-bye.
Oh, we should have Randy Jackson, not Roger. Randy Jackson come say go bye-bye.
I'm going to say go bye-bye, dog.